Hi, friends, it's Salt. If you're new here, this channel is all about salt. Salt is the alchemical element of transformation. Salt cleanses, it heals, and it transmutes energy just like you do. This channel finds the rare archetypes who move through life differently. So if you found this, I'm really honored to have you and really just be one of the few who gets to see and reflect you properly. I normally have a pretty good idea of the general themes before going into a reading with you all, but today I have absolutely no idea. So we're going to find out together. The first card that I pulled is the High Priestess. This feels like the main energy coming through because it feels really strong. What I'm sensing with this is a waiting for an inner cue that comes from yourself and not from an external cue, meaning this is a space where you're trusting your inner cycles more wholeheartedly. I really like this energy. It feels really good. It feels like you're cutting off the noise externally. And I'm really happy for who's ever listening to this and whoever is resonating already. Something that is following this theme that I'm feeling just as strong is an upcoming transit. Okay, now we're getting into the juice of this. I'm definitely feeling a lot now. So I had to pause and come back because I had to sit with this. That kind of came at me pretty hard. But there is a Neptune retrograde in Aries that is significant to this reading. The energetic meaning that is combined with the High Priestess for this collective that feels like they are in a void right now is Neptune is the planet of disillusion. So, right now, in a retrograde period upcoming, you are going to dissolve illusions that you maybe had prior, especially ones tied around this theme of emotional resonance that came out with the High Priestess as my first card. Basically, what I'm sensing here is that there has been a pull to external noise as your cues. Like you had to feel something from an external source to move forward, and you trusted that guidance. And now you have this Neptune energy kind of dissolving that illusion, especially the ones you used to accept just to feel something. The lull that you might be in right now is not lifeless. It's the removal of what feels like a false fire that you've had throughout your life. And this could show up in a lot of things like relationships, friendships, work. It's tied to this central theme that you needed to feel something really hard in order to move forward. Like it didn't come from the inside, it came from stimulus. And it had to be really like pushing and forceful stimulus, is what I'm sensing. Another way to phrase this is that this collective that I'm speaking to very much had a lot of chaotic energies around them a lot of their life. This could take the form of family, friends, relationships. It doesn't have to be people, it could also be situations like work. But very much these energies push this, whoever I'm speaking to, forward a lot of their lives, whether consciously or unconsciously. This collective has formed a dependency on action through that external stimulus. And I feel like there's a connection with this lull, whether that be that these energies have fallen off or something has shifted very recently for this collective where they no longer either are responding to that stimulus the same way they used to, or they've removed the stimulus entirely. This Aries retrograde doesn't feel passive. It activates a confrontation within you, is what I'm sensing. It is now showing you who you've always been when no one is around to mirror or push you. So the disorientation that I'm feeling with this collective might be like, I mean, I'm getting a saying really strongly, but I don't know if I can say that word online. I actually don't know very much about YouTube rules since this channel is pretty new, but it's what the am I doing? Like, I just keep hearing that over and over again. So I don't know if that's something that you've been saying to yourself, if that's like a recent thing, but it is just coming through. It's like disorganizing my thoughts because it keeps coming through so strongly. So I don't know if that is something that means something to you. I guess this will show up for the collective in interesting ways. Like you might feel bored, you might feel lifeless. You also might be feeling your boredom as like like something that you need to act on. But what I'm being shown is that this boredom or this lull is not a command to do something necessarily, but it is a signal, and it's meant to be felt without needing to be fixed. There's no to-do list that follows this. So don't ignore it, but also don't jump on it. The next thing that's coming through really strongly is again this Kazemi energy. It's like I can't get away from it in readings. It kind of wants to stick its head in there. This, if you're not familiar, I had a reading about this. If you want to go back and check that one out, it might apply to this collective. But June 24th, we had a Kazemi. It is pretty rare, and I'd look it up if you're interested and that feels significant to you. But what I'm picking up about it in this reading is there is a partner or attached energy to you. It could be a partner. I actually don't know what this is. This could be just someone significant whose energy passed. Wow, this is really specific. Whose energy had a first house activation during this Kazemi. So the first house, if you're not familiar, is the house of the ego and the self. In a healed state for a healed individual, this activation would enhance alignment within this person. But what I'm sensing is this felt like kind of a spiritual sunburn to them in this energy. It like basically turned the lights on in a very dark room that they had of their ego and their self. This feels like kind of a beginning state for a much larger karmic timeline for this individual, unfortunately. I'm sensing that this was like the first nudge of showing deeper patterns that they've tried to avoid, that it kind of came to surface at this point, but this is the beginning point of that threshold. So the Kazemi feels like shining light on it. And then there seems to be another transit that might then later ask, what will you do next? So they're being shown the areas they tried to avoid, they tried to hide from, things that were getting in the way of moving forward past their ego. And now they have a choice to either keep choosing old patterns or to choose differently moving forward. There is a theme here that's also heavy about friendships. This seems very significant for you or this collective. What it's kind of showing me, it's highlighting a group of people who historically had, like you might have historically had friends in the past kind of given to you passively. So this could look like friendships just kind of showing up out of nowhere, like one leaves and then the next one kind of starts. It doesn't feel like there's a lot of work here to obtain friendships or to find them. Like there was never active seeking of friendships, but I'm starting to see a really big shift recently where you have been moving towards a more active role. Like you're looking for people to surround you, you're looking for groups. This could also show up in dating, I think. Like it seems in the past things have been presented to you, but now you're taking that lead, that action very recently, or you will be moving forward. It seems like whoever I'm talking to today is a group of people that spent a lot of their life in highly active emotional situations. This could have been a lot of trauma, but these catalysts were important for your growth. I'm seeing that like you had these people that were presented to you for a reason. Like they came into your life for a specific lesson, and it's always been kind of difficult. But when you move on, the next lesson is there and presented to you almost. Now, as your experience is in this kind of lull state, this kind of like bored state is the only way I could describe it. It almost feels like a void state. It seems you don't really feel comfortable in that stillness because it doesn't offer those high emotional stakes you're used to, like when the universe kind of gave you these people as catalysts or these events. You're used to constantly being fed that, and now you're in a much more gentle space of actively pursuing. or you will be, like you're transitioning into that. So I think the message here is, or I guess a question from spirit is, can you be in a gentler emotional setting without assuming something is wrong? Friendships now require intentional cultivation, not karmic intensity. And that is the timeline shift you're on, the new threshold of energy. So adjusting to this period might feel a little bit disorienting. It might feel a little bit uncomfortable for now, but just know that there's nothing wrong with these feelings. It's just showing that new energy that's being drawn towards you, being magnetized towards you. So, this last part is, I know some of you already instinctively know this, but keep leaving comments. Um, Comments really help me channel more efficiently. The comments themselves don't have to be anything personal, it doesn't have to be anything specific. Although I love reading either or. It's really just an energetic nudge so I can intuitively channel for you. It helps me align and channel more efficiently. So I look forward to each and every one, and I read them always. And I'm so happy you're all here with me. So cheers, friends.